Well, it's syncing up at pjnet.tv. It is 9:30 on the East Coast. Welcome, and we're glad you're here. Our bumper is running. We're recording, streaming to all kinds of places. And JD is standing by. We're going to take a trip around the Cross W as soon as we finish this countdown to Studio 9. Okay. Welcome to... I have something for you. I found this, and I just wanted to bring it up. This is the official Disaster Relief Florida Baptist Convention T-shirt. You'll notice the color is blue. Blue is worn by the leader of the team. The other, we use all kinds of hat systems, color systems, but that was mine to wear, and I can fit in. I've actually lost a little weight, folks. I know that none of you have told me that yet, but I have. Okay. Enough about me. You all didn't come to hear anything about that. We are going to take a trip around the Cross W Ranch, and to do that, no better qualified person than the curator and caretaker himself, J.D. Wininger. And J.D., before we go into your blog, I just found out moments ago that we have a mutual friend.
Yes, sir. I sure do.
It is a very small world.
Yes, sir, it is. I've known Mr. Rick Harris for 15, 18 years now. He's the executive director of the Association of Proposal Management Professionals. And I just happened to see his name pop up on one of Miss Renee's posts. And I went, well, how in the world are you guys connected? And he's your old college roommate. I'll be darned.
That's right. He is very different today, and so am I. Thank goodness. Okay. Anyway, JD depicted in the picture behind me tonight. Let me fair warning, folks. Tonight is going to be a no bull show program. Okay, there's no bull. This is the no bull zone. But behind me, you see a couple of bulls. What you refer to as bullying, as opposed to bullying, they are bullying.
Yes,
What is going on there?
Well, it's a trait that every cow I've ever known does this from the time they're calves. In fact, my little 1-month-old calves out in the pastures do this every day with one another. And basically, they just take their foreheads and they lock heads against one another, and it's just a battle for dominance. Who's going to win each day? And they'll go back and forth for an hour at a time sometimes.
Oh, come on.
And what happens eventually is one, as you can picture here, old Rocky's got Lorenzo's head pinned on the ground. And they're a week apart in age, and both of them's around 800 pounds. But so they're pretty evenly matched. But what tickled me that evening, and I just happened to catch that on a shot when I was filling the water trough, with the camera, just watching these knuckleheads. But I caught it just when he had pinned him. But they've been going at it for 10 minutes or so. And it was all over a little patch of clover that was just coming up, and things were just starting to green up around here. So that was just hilarious to be able to catch that. I went, man, am I a lot like that, I just keep fighting in my own power. And what old Rocky did was he just stepped to one side. And when he did, all that forward momentum that Lorenzo had just put him right on the ground. I mean, his legs buckled down, he went, and it was funny because old Rocky walked around with a little bit of a strut for a couple of days, and he got the best of his buddy. Someone in the comments of my post said, well, that's where bullying comes from. And I never really thought of it like that, but I guess it's a form of bullying, isn't it? Seeing who's most dominant, between two boys especially. But, I related it to the battle, and you mentioned it with Miss Sherry Lynn there, of how my carnal human spirit, my sin nature, fights with the Holy Spirit every day. It seems like, boy, I want to say something or do something that I know I shouldn't, and things, and that's where the spirit of self control comes in. But I really have to struggle with that sometimes, Coach.
You do. Well, it's first of all, I commend you, JD, because most people, if they saw the scene that you saw, would see two bulls tussling and say that's what they do. But I think that God has placed you in that ranch for many reasons. But among them is a way. What'd you call it? The school.
It's God's classroom.
Classroom. Yeah.
Yep.
Indeed, it is a classroom to the extent that you are willing to submit yourself to it being a classroom. Otherwise, it's just a farm.
It's a ranch. That's right. Yes, sir.
What's the difference between a ranch and a farm?
Well, a ranch focuses on raising animals, and a farm focuses on raising crops, Coach.
Okay.
That's why I know to put it.
I kind of knew that. I kind of knew that, but there are important distinctions to be made.
Yeah.
What is the difference between a pond and a lake?
A lake is fed, and a pond is pretty
a watershed.
stagnant, or it's not.
It's a watershed.
A watershed, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. How about a boat and a ship? I mean, we can go. I can keep these going. I mean, I'll
are you
eventually.
Navy or are you Navy or Army?
I think for purposes of our discussion, I'll be Army, but I would neither. But you have served. Now, I didn't get to the comments this week as I like to do normally, but you always get a what we used to call boo-coo. Which is spelled kind of, I can't spell it, but I can pronounce it. It's boo-coo of comments.
Yes, sir. I'm very blessed in that my audience or the people that follow my blog and things are very engaged. And what I love about it, and I've done this from the very beginning, is I invite them to have a conversation with the community, with all of us. Ben always brings a different, unique perspective, and Miss Catherine brought a different perspective and a different way to look at it. And when it all comes together, you get a much more complete picture, and it was just so enjoyable. I love reading the comments and responding to them because that helps me to grow.
Well, I think if you don't read the comments, you miss something, because in many cases the comments will find some truth that is not explicitly stated in the words, but the message is there.
Yes.
So I think when you read a blog, it's a good idea to read the comments, because, well, especially with JD's, they're all good. I mean, sometimes the comments are downright entertaining.
Better than the post. Yes.
Yeah, entertaining. It's all good. Now we are going to keep this. This is on a need to know basis, but suffice it to say that you need to be paying close attention to JD on his social media in the next week, and that's all I can say, right? Or have I already said more than I should? Further, the affiant saith not.
Yeah, so we'll just leave it at that, Coach.
We'll just leave it at that. Will there be an announcement this week of some kind?
No, sir. I
Won't be
don't
this week.
expect one.
Okay.
No, I don't expect one, Coach.
All right. Well, there is impending doom out there. No, we're kidding.
I hope not. I hope not.
I hope not. JD, I remember reading about your I say your mule. It's a Kawasaki mule. You refer to it as the UTV, but basically the little highfalutin, high-priced golf cart got froze up in the ice. But Bubba the Chocolate Lab is your companion in the UTV. Is everything, the front end still working? Bubba doing okay?
Well, I tell you, we got 2 inches of rain last night. Hailstorm come through, some strong winds and rain. So I had to put it in 4-wheel drive this morning, and that thing just clunks and growls and roars, but it keeps pulling through. And the cost to replace the final drive is about a third of the cost of the unit. So I'm going to run it till the wheels fall off, Coach.
Well, and you know
When
where
it
that'll
breaks,
be?
then I'll fix it.
You know the farthest point from the house?
Yes,
That's where it'll happen. It won't happen just as you approach the gate, to pull it in
absolutely.
it's going to make you walk. It's going to punish. It's going to reach up out of the grave beyond its life, and go for that. And
Probably will.
tell me again. I think you have told me in the past, but tell me again. You were living at one point in Chicago?
Oh, well, the
Kinda?
western suburbs of Chicago. I lived in the Del Webb community. Our last home was in Del Webb. 6,000 homes. I think Miss Diane will correct me. She's in the chat room tonight. But I think it was right at 6,000 homes. We had a corner lot, maybe a tenth of an acre, and had the home built in 2006. And we lived there until 2013 when God moved us to Texas. So it was funny because after Diane's mama passed on, Diane asked me about a month later, honey, we need to get out of this cold weather and snow and things. And we still had snow on the ground. Said, have you given any thought to moving? And I said, oh, funny you should ask. I pulled up an Excel spreadsheet with demographics and tax rates across 6 different states, all of them south. This old Bubba was going back down south. That's all he knew. In retirement, I wanted to get back down south where I belonged.
And you chose Texas, but you're actually a Florida boy.
Well, God chose Texas. Let's put it that way.
Well,
Texas
it's his
was
country.
one of the places we looked at, and that's just where we were led to look at. And we must have looked at 50 places, Coach, and just nope. There's always something wrong, or it didn't fit, or it was 2-story, and we wanted ranch and things. And then I was about ready to give up on East Texas, and God said, go here. And he showed me this place. And we called the realtor and said, we're coming down. We want to go to Cooper, Texas and see this place. And she said, where's that at? She had no idea where Cooper was.
That's the realtor.
And so she found the address and drove us almost an hour and a half to get here from Gilmer. And we came in and we just fell in love with the place. Miss Diane used to sell real estate, and she used to tell me that if people can see themselves in that home, that's where they belong. Uh-huh. And that's exactly what we did. So it just worked out. We overlooked all the flaws, and boy, I'm still paying for all of those. But, the little things that we overlooked and missed. But it's been, this is where God wants us, Coach.
And you've been there how long?
8 years in July.
8 years. Okay. I should have given you time to, gulp your coffee down. But
that's okay.
It's
been a long day.
It's and mine's just starting. You said you passed over. You mentioned 50. I don't know if that was just of allegorical, exaggeration,
or throwing out a number.
Just throwing out a number. But what
probably closer to 35.
If you looked over that many, you must have had something. There must have been criteria that it didn't meet.
Well, things like you walk in and you're walking across the floor and you realize that you're walking uphill. That's a problem. Or you look at the roof of this cabin and it's a 4-bedroom, and then you realize that 2 of the bedrooms are actually what used to be a 2-car garage. That's a problem. And then you stop and you look at the roof line and it's doing one of these, and well, that's a problem. it was
Not bad.
amazing the poor quality of things that we saw.
That was for sale
And I go,
anyway.
now I realize we're out in the country and things. We were looking for property and things, but oh my goodness, it it was amazing some of the things that we saw, and the homes that were well built and things were most of them were 2-story homes and things. And when you're mine and Miss Diane's age, we don't need stairs every day to get to the bedroom.
Yeah.
We'd been there, done that in Illinois.
And I thought of that long ago, even though there's no problem. But it seems to me that if you're going to build a two-story, you would build the master bedroom downstairs.
Doesn't that make sense?
Doesn't that just make
Yeah.
sense? But no.
Yeah. None of the 2 stories we ever lived in did that, did they, honey?
No.
Yeah. No.
Now the house was one thing, but you have told stories about the condition of the property, the land. What are those
Oh,
thorns?
goodness.
We got
Oh, the
prickly pears
locust
down
trees?
here, but you have locust
The
trees
locust trees with thorns about like that? Yes, sir.
that'll go through your tennis shoe.
Yes, sir. So you tractor tires and just about anything you want to, Coach.
So did you feel like you had moved into hell on earth or what?
Oh, no, sir. I just knew that, some people use the land and some people abuse the land, Coach. It's the best way I know to put it. There's users and abusers in life. And this land had just been all used up. People took from it, and took from it, and took from it, and nobody ever cared for it. Nobody ever put what it needed back in it. Uh, I put down 3 tons of lime per acre because the pH was like 3.6, Coach, and it should be between 6.5 and 7. Uh, NPK was non-existent. In fact, the potassium level could not even be measured. The ground was so poor. The only thing it grew was goat weed, orange milkweed, and mesquite and locust trees. So just weeds. There was very little grass. I don't know how the horses that the people that lived here before, how they had anything to eat, Coach. It was just grass and grasshoppers. Miss Diane will tell you about the giant grasshoppers that landed in her face when we were driving the UTV across the pasture before any fencing or anything went in. Yeah, oh my goodness. She won't go outside in the pasture with me today because of those, I think. But it was just terrible.
So
But
if your car battery went dead back in those days, you could just hook the jumper cables up to the ground, and
yeah, pretty much.
you had a battery.
Oh, geez, it was some sour land. But I sat right out there in what I call my north pasture, so the east side of the house, Coach. And I sat out there in my mule, and I said, God, you don't have to bargain, with anybody, but if you'll send me the helpers and the knowledge, I'll put in the work to turn this place around. And Coach, in less than 3 years, I'm pulling 4 5x6 bales of hay off of it per acre.
Mhm. And
And
normal
that's
is
normal is 1.5 an acre.
and
Okay.
your cow
So
your beef is going in about what 1,200 pounds.
at 18 months, yeah, I'm just under 1,200 pounds at 18 months. Yes, sir.
And typically they'll be what about 1,000.
Oh, yes, sir. You'd be lucky 900 to 1,000.
Folks, I am not
Yeah,
knowledgeable in these
unless
things.
unless they finish them out in a feedlot someplace, and they feed them
Uh-huh.
10 pounds of corn a day. But mine are natural fed and they're grain finished, but they're ranch raised, and the quality of the beef, Coach, is such a different flavor and texture, the marbling and things.
Uh-huh.
It's not an aged steak that you'd buy at Morton's Steakhouse and things. I won't pretend that it is, but it's buttery, it's tender, and just when you can cut the fillet with a fork, you're doing something, Coach.
There you, yeah.
And yeah,
Well, I'm getting this picture now. Now I do have a question though. You were very specific about the house, and you would find these obvious defects and take it off the list. But you settled here at the Cross W because the house was in apparently not terrible shape. Did you know that all these defects were out there when you in the land
Oh,
itself?
oh no, we had a home inspection, and we knew a couple of things, but after we got moved in, we didn't know how poor the land was, and we didn't know the things that we'd find in the house. For example, the dryer vent. You think, well, that's pretty standard. There's a little output outside the house and things. No, not
No,
this house.
no.
They just had the pipe going 3-inch PVC going up into the
Attic?
ceiling from
In the
the
attic?
laundry room, and that's where it stopped. It just blew lint for
No, it
20 years
enhanced
up in
the
the ceiling.
insulation on that particular ceiling area.
Oh, that's a spray foam insulation. They sprayed it.
Oh,
All
yeah.
the
Well,
rafters
the
and
lint
that
from the dryer enhanced it.
became
That-
insulation. Yes. So after I had to clean that mess, and then it was such a long run, I ended up putting a power vent. So I had to run electrical to turn on to power the power vent up in the attic. So we found lots of fun things, and HVAC systems, and 7 tons of that, and oh well, it is what it is.
Well, JD, I yearn to
God
come
has
out there
blessed us, God.
and do what others have done, stop by and visit. And has anybody stopped by to visit and said something to the effect of, look at this wonderful ranch that God has given you?
Yep. You've had her on PJ Net, Miss
Yeah.
Connie Walford and her
Sure.
husband Guy, last April. Was it March or April? It was right before the year before that.
Yeah.
So it was pre-COVID, but they came out and spent several days with us on their 50th wedding anniversary. They were going to San Antonio, and they stopped by from Virginia. In fact, we owe them a trip to Virginia to spend time with them in their mountain cabin up there.
Well, you heard about the old farmer that would never go to church.
No,
The old
sir,
ranch.
please.
Oh,
go
yeah.
ahead.
Oh, yeah. Well, a new preacher came to town, and he's visiting around, and he's going down the list, and the farmer's name comes up, and they said, no, there's no need to go see old Farmer Jones because he ain't going to church. It just it would not be a good idea for you to visit. So, well, the pastor, mustered up the courage and went out, and here's old Farmer Jones sitting on the front porch, and the pastor takes a seat there in the rocking chair next to him, and he casts a gaze over the fields that are just, beautiful. And he says, Farmer Jones, God has given you this beautiful, beautiful property. And he said, preacher, you should have seen it when God had it by himself.
Oh, gosh, I don't know. But while we're talking about farmers, I have to share one with you. Of course, we get close to the end here. But a DEA agent shows up at the farm and goes to the old farmer. And he's got his bib overalls on. He's doing chores. And he flashed his badge. I'm with the DEA. He said, we've gotten reports from aerial observation that you're growing an illegal cash crop on this land. He said, well, maybe. It's a big place, He said, but you're welcome to look around. He said, but tell you, young feller, he said, don't go into that pasture over yonder. Said, you won't stay out of there. Young fella kind of rears back and he pulls out his badge. He said, you see this badge, old man? He said, I'm a federal official with the United States government. This gives me the right to go anywhere, do anything, seize anything. Old farmer said, hey, have it your way, pal. A few minutes later, he hears that young fella just a screaming, just his lungs out, And he realizes, and he looks, and he sees this Santa Gertrudis bull just coming after this young fella, And he knows the young fella ain't going to make it to the fence before that bull gets him, and he's going to gore him. So, you know what the old farmer said?
No.
Said, your badge. Show him your badge. I'm sorry, Coach. I ain't right. There we go. Okay. Yeah, one farmer joke for another, buddy.
All right. Well, JD,
Anyway, I sure hope folks enjoyed the blog this week, Coach. I hope you did. And just a gentle reminder that, we don't have, when Satan is bullying us around and we're going head to head with temptation, we don't have to fight that battle alone. We can just step aside and let Christ do our fighting for us.
and I'll see your bet and raise you one. If we do, we're toast.
Yes. Every time. Yes,
we're setting up a loss. With JD, you're always an encouragement, and I enjoy trading jokes with you. And but we're glad that God's got you caretaking that farm and caretaking Miss Diana. And we just look forward to chatting with you again next week. Appreciate you coming in every week the way you do, JD. We love you, brother.
Take care, folks. Bye-bye.
All right. Hi. There you see the view across the way here at the broadcast facilities of pjnet.tv. I'll switch away from that. Okay. Well, I keep wanting to share some things with you, but trust me, or you can rest assured that things are moving along quite nicely. I was able to, I just basically go to class at night here, learning new skills that will be used here at pjnet.tv and of course around the world as a result. And I am so encouraged. I wish I had more time, but we'll have time sooner or later to share more. If you'd like to know more, well, give me a call. Be fine. No problem. I'm up late, and I intend to be up late tonight. Okay, well, let's wrap it up. Thursday night, that's pretty much the end of the week for me, but it is not the end of the week for pjnet.tv. Friday night, Steve Hazards takes the helm. He has the con. We do start at 9 p.m. He'll be playing some tunes. He likes to play jazz, but he also throws in some retro tunes. But then that starts at 9. Now, but at 10 o'clock or about around there, my perspective and comment, which started out as a 10-minute, and then 15, and then 20, and then 30, and anyway. But folks, you would be surprised at the lineup of people that start ringing the doorbell, coming into the chat room once that starts, because he takes the week and looks back and gets some of the current events and shares his perspective, yes, and his comment, yes, but always from a biblical point of view. And then he wraps it up with a pretty good little sermon, what JD calls bringing it home. I hope you'll join us for that on Friday nights, and we've got some interesting guests lined up for you next week. Whatever the case, I always enjoy my time in the fellowship of the friends and family at pjnet.tv and in the chat room. I look forward to visiting the chat room in just a moment with a fresh cup of coffee. And I'm going to sign off by leaving you with 2 questions that you can ask yourself. Here's the first one. What is the boldest thing that you have ever done for Jesus Christ? While you're thinking, here's the second question. When was that? JD made reference to the spiritual battle. He, in his blog, quotes the verses from Ephesians chapter 6, verses 10 through 19. Some say 18, some say 20, but you go read it. We're in battle. We're at war, literally. Not between flesh and blood, but between powers and principalities. That's going to require courage. So, I hope none of us will be satisfied with our answers to either of those 2 questions.